taking place, so that you can actually understand and start understanding what is being actually done over there. Now, coming to next point is basically you should also be having a notebook in hand with you, because that's a must. Because there are a lot of questions, lot of things which are going to come up, and you will not be able to understand a lot of things. So it's always good that you always have a notebook. So always take notes. Make sure that whatever important is being told over here, just make a note of that. You must also be having some lot of questions coming up, like you are not able to understand what is there, you are not able to make out of what is being told over there. So always make a note of those questions also, and you can ask those questions in the last. So if you have any queries, you have got any kind of issues in the field itself, you are not able to understand why the problems are coming, you are not able to do some kind of a designing, or you are not able to understand the whole thing. So it's always better that you ask those questions. Feel free. Everyone here is here to learn only. So nobody is here expert over there. The experts are only the coach or the tutors who are going to train you on those things. So feel free to ask questions. Nobody here to judge you. Nobody is going to feel that कि आपको ये काम आता है नहीं आता है. It's pretty simple that everyone should be asking questions. Whatever the queries that you have in your mind, please feel free to ask those questions. Now, next is keep your mobiles on silent, because this is one of the areas where the big challenge comes, and most of the people should be keeping your mobiles on silent. So please, अभी अपने mobiles को आप silent कर लीजिए, मैं भी अपना कर लेता हूँ और आप लोग भी कर लीजिए, so that nobody gets disturbed because of the mobiles disturbance. I would also request that nobody should indulge in the crosstalks, because crosstalks actually hamper the discussion flow. So if anybody is asking any questions, let him ask the question. Let the guide answer those questions successfully to everyone, so that everyone can understand. Then you should ask your questions. So it should not be crosstalks in between, that one is asking other question and the other one is also asking other question. It becomes difficult to answer those things, and it also breaks the flow the way the training is going on. Then in the end, we will definitely be giving you some assignments, and all those assignments also needs to be completed on time, because until unless you don't implement what is being told over here, you are not trying it in the field, or you are not reading, or you are not doing the things, the training is of no use to you. So it is always recommended that you always complete your assignments. There will be a full week given to you for completing those assignments. Today is just an introductory session, so we are just going to have a basics today, so it will not be a big issue for anybody to understand that. But make sure that all the assignments are done and they are submitted to your tutors in time. Now, in the end, we have a support email over here. It is my name is there, and it's pretty easy to remember, like manmeetsinghbhatti.com. So here you can actually come and you can ask, you can submit your queries, you can submit your questions, whatever you want to do that, in case they are not answered in this program. So here, because most of people have now joined and we are going to start with the session, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put up a small attendance form in the chat box, so that everyone is able to understand and everyone should mark his attendance over here. So the chat box, the message is there. So I request everyone to mark their attendance here, and whosoever the newest person is joining, they should also mark their attendance over there, so that we can understand how many people are actually joining, and in case we have to change any logistics or any kind of the things in the system itself, we are able to do that. Now today is going to be an introductory session, and today the coach for today and the trainer for today is Mr. Vipin Bali. Mr. Bali is having more than 35 plus years of experience, particularly working for instrumentation and automation industry, and he has worked for diverse fields like chemical plants, papers, oil and gas, and he has worked for very big MNCs, and he has been instrumental in designing the complete system for this. तो जितने भी हम आज बड़ी refineries में systems देखते हैं, he is instrumental into designing those systems, getting them implemented, getting them installed, and getting them maintained also. So this way he is the person who is your main trainer over here, and he will be actually training you on lot of the nuances of instrumentation industry, and you will be able to understand how the instrumentation selection is to be done, how the instrumentation implementation of that instrumentation is to be done, how the maintenance of the activity has to be done. So he'll be covering all of those things. So I would now request Mr. Vipin Bali to start with his training presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatti. It was a really very elaborate and nice introduction. I would like to give a very warm welcome to our guests who have joined today for the first time and to our advanced engineers team. Welcome to this training session. So, as Mr. Bhatti told, today is going to be a very basic, elementary, fundamental about what an instrumentation is, why we use instrumentation, and henceforth. Okay. So you can stop me anytime during the course of the presentation. Okay, don't feel hesitate. The more question you ask, I will be happier. Okay, don't keep any doubts in your mind. So having said that, I will just start my presentation now. You are able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Good. Fine. So we'll start now. So the today the topic of the presentation is what is instrumentation. Now there is a very interesting aspect on that. With more than 3 decades of experience in engineering consultancy in instrumentation, I have worked with several MNCs. Somewhere they used to call it control system. Somewhere they used to call it control and automation. Somewhere they used to call it instrumentation. Somewhere they used to call it instrumentation and control. But primarily all these four are same thing only. We are talking about instrumentation only. Instrumentation is the basic native word actually. Okay, rest are all different terminologies, but the meaning is same. So you should not get confused because in some companies they say control system engineer, which is basically an instrumentation. Control automation, which is again basically an instrumentation engineer. Okay, so now what we are going to talk today and what we are going to discuss today and deliberate upon, what is instrumentation, why use instrumentation, what can we observe, measure and control from instrumentation, which industries they use instrumentation, what are the responsibilities of instrumentation department, and as a design consultant, what deliverables or documentations we produce for instrumentation. Okay, so my today's presentation is going to cover all these aspects. So if somebody asks you what is instrumentation, instrumentation and control, it is a very important engineering branch which has interface with all the other engineering disciplines. Now in your engineering college degree or diploma, whatever you have done, you would have come across different type of disciplines. Process, which is basically called a chemical discipline. Civil, everybody is aware of it. Electrical, everyone is aware of it. Piping. Static means some static equipment like tank or vessel or a separator. Rotating means like pumps or compressors. And HVAC is your air conditioning. So generally in any of the engineering consultancies, you will find these disciplines. Okay. And instrumentation has linkage with all these disciplines. Okay, we give some input to them, we take some input from them. So because engineering is a multidiscipline forum, it is not a single discipline, it is not a mono discipline. So instrumentation plays a very important and pivotal role in carrying out the engineering and design. Okay, in collusion with other disciplines which I just showed you. Okay, so that is what an instrumentation and control is. This is where it fits. So we will be talking about understanding what an instrumentation and control is all about, what it covers, and its application in various industries. Okay, so that is we are going to cover these things in today's presentation in a very broad aspect. So instrumentation is a branch of engineering that deals with measurement and control. Now, measurement. The simplest example which I can give you is when you would have gone to a petrol pump that we go almost every day for filling the petrol or diesel in the car, our car. So you see the meter running. So there is one meter which shows about the money and the other meter which shows about the liter. Okay. Now how does that come? It is basically an instrument, a flow instrument which measures the flow, how much petrol or diesel going into your car. Okay. So that is an instrumentation. Another simple example of instrumentation is when you go and fill the air, get the air filled in your tires. So the guy uses a small gauge with the needle. It is basically pressure measurement. How much pressure of air is there in the tire? Okay. So these are very, very small examples which I've given you in our day-to-day life. Another example which I can talk about is when somebody is not well and having a fever, you put a thermometer. Okay. It is again a type of temperature instrument. Okay. So with these three examples, I have given you a flow example, measurement, pressure, and temperature. Very simple devices which we are using in our daily life. Okay. So it is a collection of the instruments, control and safeguarding systems, and their application for the purpose of observation, measurement, and control. Okay. Don't get bothered by the definition. I will explain you in a very simple way in the subsequent slides. So it is instruments and systems. Just remember that in a very simple way. Any questions so far, please, from anyone? Okay. The question is when we are using something, there has to be a purpose because without purpose, we would not be using anything. So the question is why use instrumentation? What is the purpose? Okay. What is the advantage? What is the benefit? So we use instrumentation is first thing is to save the money. Okay. We use instrumentation is to know about the process condition. What is the pressure? What is the flow? What is the level? What is the temperature? We need to control that process. Okay. And we need to safeguard the system. We need to safeguard the plant. We need to safeguard the unit. So mainly these are the four main criteria, purpose or use of instrumentation. We want to save the money, we want to control the process, we want to safeguard the process, and we want to know about the process conditions, what they are. So that is the main purpose of instrumentation. Please, any questions, stop me anytime. Huh? If there are no questions, then I may assume that is okay. So please don't hesitate. Now, we will spend some time on this because this is one of the most important slide of the whole presentation. So the question is, if you remember in the previous slide, I told you instruments. Okay. Pressure. Example which I gave you, tire monitoring pressure. So here we are measuring it. It is measurement of the pressure. We can also control the pressure, okay, by using some systems. So we can observe what the pressure is, we can control the pressure. Similarly, flow, we can measure the flow, we can control the flow. Similarly, temperature, you can measure and control. Similarly, level, you can measure and control. Now, these four are the most important and most commonly used in any industries. Okay. Whichever industry is there, whether it is process industry or a chemical industry or a oil and gas industry or a paper and pulp industry, whichever industry we are talking about, these four are very, very fundamental, basic type of instruments or instrumentation we use. pressure measurement, flow measurement, temperature measurement, and level measurement. Apart from this, sometimes we also measure the sound level, because we cannot allow sound of a particular plant or a process unit to go beyond a certain level, since it is not good for human hair. So somebody might have hearing loss. So to measure the sound also and to keep it below a certain level is very important. Then vibration. So when we talk of uh, pumps and compressors, there are bound to be vibrations, and these vibrations also have to be within certain limit for the protection of the machinery. So the vibration measurement also comes as a part of instrumentation. Then when you're talking about a liquid, you also talk about the density and the viscosity measurement. And some of the processes require that we also need to measure the density and the viscosity of that particular fluid. So you might find some density meters and the viscosity meters in the market to measure those parameters. Then radiation, for example, now last 2 to 3 years, this COVID-19 pandemic, you must have seen that temperature measurement, non-contact type, they are just putting in front of the forehead or above the wrist and measuring the temperature. So it's nothing but it is a radiation, is a heat which is radiated from our skin, which is measured. Okay, so it is one example of radiation. And then, for example, frequency, current, and voltage, which is related to the power. Okay, these meters. Then there are some instruments which measure the chemical properties also. Okay, but these are very specialized and rare. They are not used in all the industries. And last but not the least, and the most important in terms of safeguarding protection of the plant, fire and gas instruments. So to protect the plant against the leakage of any flammable gas or against fire. So in this nutshell, whatever I have shown and whatever I have told you basically covers the entire uh, gamut of field instrumentation which is possible. So whichever plant you are going to work with, you will find all these type, the combination of these instruments in that particular process or unit. Clear? Any question, please?
No, sir, clear.
Good. Now, obviously, if we are talking about the instruments, we are talking about the systems, then there have to be some end users or the client who are going to use it. Because if there are no end users or client, then there is no point making those instruments or systems. Now, instrumentation basically covers almost all, entirely all the industries. I have listed some of the major industries, but as I told you, you will find the instruments in almost all the industries, as small as pressure gauge to as big as control systems or safeguarding systems. Now, here I have listed some of the very important industries or mega industries or giant industries, which generally uses the instrumentation, what we just talked about. Oil and gas predominantly, crude oil. Okay, these are the upstreams, oil and gas fields, the wells from where the crude oil comes, then goes to main station, and then further it is supplied to refineries, petrochemicals. So oil and gas, petrochemicals, fertilizers, chemical units, pharma units, paper, steel, cement. So if you happen to work in the future in any of these industries or sectors, you will definitely come across the instrumentation what we just discussed in the previous slide. Okay, these are some of the major industries I've talked about. Now, I would spend some time, little bit, because my experience of more than 3 decades, and I have worked almost with hundreds of trainee, fresh engineers and graduates. A very common problem which occurs is when they finish the engineering, they don't know what to do, which field they need to go to. And I will tell you examples. In instrumentation, people also come from electronics, people also join from computers. They take the instrumentation as a career. People also join from electrical, they want to come in the instrumentation, or people who are already in instrumentation, they want to come in instrumentation. So the first confusion is which field you want your career to make, in instrumentation or in the other field which you have done. So in my department which I was working, basically I had people with electronics background, with electronics and telecommunication, with mechatronics, which is a combination of mechanical electronics, with instrumentation, with IT and electrical. So these six combination I had, people with these degrees coming and joining instrumentation department. That is number one. Number two, they don't know whether in instrumentation they should go in an engineering consultancy, or they should join a vendor who are manufacturing the instruments and the systems, or they should apply for a job in the end user, the companies which I talked to you about, sectors directly: oil sector, paper and pulp, power sector, cement sector. So there is a confusion basically because they don't realize their real potential. Some people who are good in sales and marketing, they end up their career in a consultancy, which is not correct. In fact, they should be more on the vendor side. The people who are technically good but they don't have a sales and marketing acumenship, they join engineering consultancies. So these two things are very important to decide, like the field and which type of department, sector or segment we have to go within instrumentation. So here I'm giving you a gist, a flavor of what type of different departments are there actually. First is the design department, which basically I belong to, and I've spent my whole life virtually there, doing engineering and design consultancy, making engineering and design for various units. As Mr. Bhatti already told you, oil and gas, I have worked with one or two plants in steel, with pharma sector, uh, with the fertilizer sector, in chemical sector. So I had basically had fortunate experience of working in almost all the industries. So that is your design department. You do a design, you do an engineering, and then you further carry on with the construction, procurement and construction. Then what we do is we design, and then second step is we prepare documents. Okay. For example, I have to buy a particular instrument. I will give you a simple example: pressure gauge. Now I cannot just go and buy. I have to make some specification, some norms, some type of technical data I have to put in a piece of paper to go out to the market, to the vendors, float inquiry and get the offer. Okay, for example, like you are going to buy a car. So you will have a specification. You want an ordinary car or you want an SOV. What is your budget? What are the features you want? So very similar to that, we prepare the data sheets. That is called as the instrument data sheets. Okay, that is prepare documents or deliverables. Procurement support is, suppose you are going to and buy the car, so you seek some help of some people, okay, to get some discount where you can get the best offer, best scheme. So it is have a procurement support. They float for inquiry, they go to different vendors, they get the offer. Okay. Then construction department. Now whatever you have designed on the piece of paper, very simple example I'll give you. For example, architect, you are building a house. So you have called an architect, he has made a drawing for you. Okay. But the drawing remains on the paper. So what is the next step? The next step is you need to hire a contractor to build your house. Okay. Similarly, construction department will take the drawings and will start constructing from there. Okay. Now, once the construction is done, you have to check. Okay. It is similarly, yeah, you are going for a test drive in a car, or it is similarly when you are taking the handover of a house, you are checking that all the electrical fittings, all the plumber fittings, everything is in order, everything is in good shape. There's no broken items. So similar to that, you do the installation testing of the plant. that there is no leakage, everything is in order, all the instruments are functioning, all the signals are coming, everything is fit for the purpose. Now, once you buy a car, you have to do regular maintenance. Okay. Similarly, when you are in a house, regularly you have to do some regular maintenance because something keep on, will going bad and you have to call the maintenance guy. Similarly, in your plant also, you need some regular maintenance. There might be some leakage somewhere, there might be some corrosion somewhere, there might be some instruments not working. Okay. So then you have a department, maintenance department, which regularly do the maintenance of the whole unit. Okay. Then fault finding and modifications. Okay. So for example, when we buy a car, we find something is not there, so we get some modification done in the car. Similarly, in the house, if we want to make some modification, okay, we do that. Similarly, in the plant, when it is running, after some time we find that some alteration is required or modification is required, so we do that. Modification can be an expansion also, okay, or it can be some process changes, it can be anything. Is it clear? Because this is very important what I'm telling you. So please, you can ask me any question on this. No questions? Okay. Now, the question is, as an engineering consultant in instrumentation, which all documents or drawings we produce? Okay. This is a fundamental question you may ask. So one of the first basic is basis of design. What is my basis? Basis is nothing but a fundamental concept, okay, that I am going to buy this type of instrumentation, this type of signal will be there, okay, this is protection of the instrument will be there. So some sort of benchmark and guidance I cover in the basis of design. A very simple example to explain you, I want a car which is around 5 to 7 lakhs. I want a car which gives me around 15 kilometers per mileage per liter. I want a car which has some automation features. It's very similar to that. We make some very basic minimum guidelines, okay, for what we are going to do, or what sort of instrumentation we are going to procure for that particular project. It is called as a basis of design. Second thing is specification. So which I just talked about in my previous slide, the data sheet. A very simple technical form in which I fill, basic minimum information which is required by the vendor to give me a quotation. Okay. Some technical parameters. That is called as a specification. Now, once that specification goes to the vendor, he gives me an offer. For example, you get an offer for 3 cars. So you then evaluate against this is the engine capacity, this is the mileage capacity, this is the features. Similarly, we do technical bid evaluation with the vendors, vendor A, vendor B, vendor C. What vendor A is giving, what vendor B is giving, what vendor C is giving. Okay. Then there are also some calculations, flow calculations, some temperature calculations are there in instrumentation, control valve calculations are there. Some softwares are there in the market with the vendors also, okay, to do those calculations. We prepare some reports. Sometimes we need to prepare a report. Okay. For example, we have to go to site and see what is the existing instrument or existing system, what are the problems coming, and then we have to give some suggestions. So some reports also sometimes we need to make. Then comes your philosophy. Now philosophy can be your both control philosophy and safeguarding philosophy. Control means how you are going to control that particular unit or process or plant. Okay. And safeguarding means how you are going to safeguard the plant, safeguard against fire, safeguard against explosion. Okay. So these we develop some philosophies in those cases. In terms of drawings, we prepare some wiring diagrams. For example, the instrument is in the field, the cable will come, where the cable will go, where it will get connected, junction box number, terminal number. So if somebody has to go and wire up your instrument, he needs a wiring drawing. Then you have to mechanically install an instrument. So where you're going to install that instrument? Is it sitting on a pipe, sitting on a vessel, sitting on a mounted on a column, mounted on a wall? So you have to make some sort of hookup drawings to show where that instrument will be mounted mechanically. Then logic drawings. So if your process unit has some logic, for example, if the level becomes high, the pump should start. If the level becomes low, the pump should stop. Just an example I am giving. So we need to prepare some logic drawings so that the PLC vendor or the DCS vendor can implement that in their system. Then there are some layout drawings, for example, instrument layout. So which instrument is coming at which location? That is one instrument layout. Then you have got a cable tray layout. So where I am going to put my cables in the cable tray, how my cables will be routed. So these are called as the layout drawings. And then some miscellaneous drawings depending on the project specific requirement. Okay. For example, panel drawing or some other layouts drawings or graphics, these are some of the miscellaneous drawings. So these are the broad category of drawings. These are not the drawings, but these are the category of drawings. Okay. And there can be further subcategory also, but I don't want to tell that because these are the main categories. Okay. So I'll quickly recap: basis of design, data sheets, technical bid evaluation, calculations, reports, philosophies. These are basically the documents I've talked about, broad category of documents. And broad category of drawings are wiring drawings, hookups MTO, logics, layout, and miscellaneous drawings. So in the engineering consultancy, if you are working with the engineering consultancy in the future, you will find these type of documents and drawings you will come across. Okay. So I think this covers a very basic fundamental of what an instrumentation is, where we use instrumentation, industries, deliverables, and the type of departments, we will see if we are working in instrumentation. So any question on this?
Hey guys, I think the training presentation was really great, and this is the first day, so people are trying to learn and understand this, and this was quite basic. So my request is everyone should be making notes of this, and the people who have actually not given their attendance, they should be actually giving in their attendance, because what we are going to do, the people who are actually attending and we have the data for them, we are going to send them this recording of this training also, so that I request everyone to mark his attendance. Now, coming to this, the attendance sheet is also having a feedback from all of the attendees that any kind of the topics they want to learn. Like you want to today, it's a basic thing that we have covered, but tomorrow, in case you want to learn something specific on, say, pressure, or you want to learn something specific on flow or a SCADA software. So any kind of the topic that actually is of interest to you, you feel that you lack some information about it, you want to have a training about that, just let us know. So the attendance sheet is actually covering that also. You can ask your queries, your points, and all those things, because once we get that data from you, we will be able to approach you to provide you all the recordings, all the resources that we already have. So in case anybody is having any questions, please feel free to ask now. Anyway, not a problem. In case still if you guys are still making out on this.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the presentation. My name is Nikhil. Actually, sir, I would like to ask what should be the basic knowledge a mechanical engineer or instrument engineer should have to transfer the data the instrument have to the PLC or the SCADA system.
अगर आपका क्वेश्चन ये है कि मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर को क्या स्किल होना चाहिए टू गिव द डेटा फ्रॉम फील्ड इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन टू द SCADA, दिस इज योर क्वेश्चन?
Yeah.
ओके, देखिए स्किल सेट, एक रिलेटिव स्किल सेट, दो चीजें चाहिए होती हैं. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दैट ट्रांसमीटर वर्क्स, दैट इज योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग शुड बी देयर. सेकंड इज उस ट्रांसमीटर से आउटपुट कैसे निकलता है, हाउ द ट्रांसमीटर वर्क्स एंड हाउ द आउटपुट इज गोइंग टू कम. आउटपुट मींस it can be a 4 to 20 milliamp per signal, it can be a communication protocol, it can be 0 to 10 volt. तो उसका जो ट्रांसमीटर का डेटा शीट होता है वहां से आपको पता लग जाएगा कि वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट क्या आउटपुट दे रहा है. और वो आउटपुट उसके बाद आपको अगर स्काडा में जोड़ना है, तो स्काडा अगर आप देखेंगे तो स्काडा इज ए सॉफ्टवेयर, तो सॉफ्टवेयर इज ऑलरेडी रन ऑन द पीएलसी, ऑन अ पीसी. तो आपको पीसी के ऊपर जब उसको कम्युनिकेट करवाना है तो यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड द प्रोटोकॉल्स ऑफ दोस के प्रोटोकॉल है. तो आपको एज ए मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर आपको 3 तरह के स्किल सेट सीखने पड़ेंगे अगर आपको 100% काम खुद करना है. ऑल द टूल्स अवेलेबल हैं मार्केट में, बने बनाए टूल्स अवेलेबल हैं जिसमें आपको कुछ नहीं करना है, डेटा शीट के बेस पे जाना, और बेसिक जैसे हम लोग ऑटोकैड में ड्राइंग्स बनाते हैं तो उस तरीके से भी आप काम कर सकते हैं. मतलब द टूल्स आर देयर, जिसको हम ड्राइवर्स बोलते हैं. तो बने बनाए ड्राइवर्स मिल जाते हैं. जैसे अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट सपोज मॉडबस पे डेटा आ रहा है तो मॉडबस के बने बनाए ड्राइवर्स मिल जाते हैं. अगर आपका कोई पीएलसी लगा हुआ है, एलन मेडले का लगा हुआ है, जी लगा हुआ है, तो उसके भी ड्राइवर्स बने बनाए मिल जाते हैं. तो यू कैन जस्ट पुट इट इन द सॉफ्टवेयर and do some kind of coding and then you can do that. As a mechanical engineer, it's not very difficult to do that because you should not get into the programming part, because programming is little difficult to understand. तो उसको आपको प्रोग्रामिंग सीखने में हो सकता है कि आपको 3 महीने 4 महीने लगे. ऑल्दो इट्स अ लैंग्वेज, बिकॉज आई बिलीव वेरी सिंसियरली कि किसी को भी प्रोग्रामिंग सीखने के लिए इंजीनियर होना जरूरी नहीं है, बिकॉज प्रोग्रामिंग इज अल्टीमेटली इट्स अ लैंग्वेज. तो अगर आपका दिमाग लॉजिक कर सकता है, लॉजिक समझ सकता है, तो आप प्रोग्रामिंग कर सकते हैं. बस वही है कि अगर आज आपको हिंदी आती है, यू नो हिंदी, एंड यू एक्चुअली want to write something in English, so you will have to do some practice and you'll be able to do that. तो स्किल सेट आपका आता है. लेकिन मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर में आपको कुछ नहीं करना, थोड़ा बहुत कंप्यूटर का काम आना चाहिए, डेटा शीट रीड करनी आनी चाहिए. इफ यू आर एबल टू डू दैट यू विल बी एबल टू गेट द डेटा ओवर देयर. बस रिक्वायरमेंट है, यू शुड बी हैविंग द डेटा कि वो क्या है. आई होप आई आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चन.
Yes, of course. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. Any more queries? Please come up, because we are here to actually pass on our knowledge to you. So if you feel any kind of questions apart from the presentation itself, you have got any questions or you have any inputs or suggestions, we are open to that. Please feel free. And abhi, because I see almost 19-20 people in the meeting, very few people have filled up the form. So I request you to please fill up that form, because based on the form, we will be sending you this complete recording as well as some resources. From there, you will be able to learn more. Okay. Any feedback on the training program for today?
Yeah, please. I would like to know the feedback on that if you can.
Yeah.
हेलो.
Yes, sir, please.
सर ये फॉर्म कहाँ पर है सर?
ये सर चैट बॉक्स में ही है. अगर आप देखेंगे आपके गूगल मीट में नीचे एक चैट बॉक्स आया हुआ है जहाँ पर मैसेजिंग करते हैं, तो वो आपको दिख जाए.
ठीक 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 ठीक.
हाँ, तो yes, you can just open this form and you can just put your basic data. हमें चाहिए आपका नाम, email ID and your questions. In case you have some questions, you have got some feedback, you do that.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, that should be good. It should be good. This is the beginning, guys, because the presentation is really very raw. We have kept it very simple today so that we assume that a lot of people who are joining may not have a kind of the knowledge for an instrumentation engineer to be. The subsequent training programs will be getting more detailed. Like we'll be having trainings particularly for a particular instrument, like if it's a pressure sensor, so what kind of pressure sensors are available in the market, how they work, how they give the data to the intelligent systems like control systems or SCADA systems. We'll be covering SCADA systems itself, how the SCADA systems are actually picking up the data from the field, how the PLCs work, how the automation works. So it's a complete ecosystem. We are keeping it pretty simple just because in 1 hour you will not be able to learn everything. And there are the people who are from diverse background, like some are mechanical engineers, some are electrical engineers. So we have kept it very simple. फ्यूचर में हम लोग आपको प्रायोरिटी से पहले भी बता देंगे व्हाट इज द टॉपिक दैट इज गोइंग टू बी कवर्ड इन द नेक्स्ट वीक, सो दैट यू आर वेल अवेयर ऑफ दैट कि उसके लिए क्या हमारे को प्री प्रिपरेशन करके आनी है. I'm waiting for some feedback from the team, sir. If anybody wants to give a feedback on the training, because that will help us to improve on this.
Sure. True.
And the language of the training is mix of Hindi and English. So if anybody is not able to understand Hindi or English, please let us know, because most of the training is in English, and little bit because since there is an audience who understands Hindi also, so we actually make a mix of this. If somebody who is from South India is not able to understand Hindi, please let us know.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, we can understand Hindi as well as English also. No
Okay.
issue with that. This is starting very basic actually.
Yes.
We actually thank you for reminding us basics once again. We hope coming days this will be an in-depth training session.
Yes. Slowly it is going to move up, and we are
Yes.
going to cover all the aspects which have been touched in today in the presentation. You see, there are different aspects for the instrumentation, then there are different things for the design part also. So we'll be covering all of this, which are part of this basic training.
Yes, starting from basic is very good idea, sir. Actually.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody more who wants to add up something from their side? Anything? Okay. Now I think then we should wind up, because it's already 9 a.m. That was the time with us for this particular basic training, and we are also providing hands-on trainings also in case somebody. We are based in Chandigarh, so if somebody is interested to come and get trained hands-on, that is also the solution and services available. It's a free of cost for all of the budding engineers. So if somebody wants to learn more, having a hands-on feeling on the instrumentation, hands-on feeling on some kind of a PLCs, you are most welcome to join us. Currently, we are available in Chandigarh, so we are going to provide you hands-on over there only. But slowly, we are going to try to see if we can get the systems delivered in the different places, so that the engineers can try out the projects on their own also. So I would like to thank every one of you for your time, your patience, and joining us. I would request that you please spread the word to all of your friends who are interested, all of the people who want to learn, and they want to have a career in instrumentation and control engineering department. And I tell you, I can assure you that we are going to try and give you the best of the things that we have learned in your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.